What's up, everybody? Welcome to Political Fight Club. I'm your host, Robert Durden, and this episode is about Andrew Brown Jr. He was the young black gentleman who was killed by police last month, I think it was. And I didn't do an episode on it when it first happened because the autopsy report wasn't out and they hadn't released the body cam footage from the police officers, and they still haven't released all of the body cam footage from the police officers. But now there's some more information that I want to give you guys. So that's why the delay. But so basically this happened in North Carolina, and I'm going to read to you from, this is MSN, but it's through USA Today. This just came out today, actually. What happened to him and what the horrible thing that they're deciding not to prosecute the police officer that killed him. No surprises, but that's what we get in this country. So, quote, "The sheriff's deputies who shot and killed Andrew Brown Jr., an unarmed black man in Elizabeth City, North Carolina last month, were justified in their actions and will not be criminally charged," a prosecutor said on Friday. The State Bureau of Investigation found Brown, quote, "drove recklessly and endangered the officers and used his vehicle as a deadly weapon while attempting to resist arrest," Pasquotank County District Attorney Andrew Womble said at a news conference. He said the actions of the officers were consistent with their training. Quote, "Mr. Brown's death, while tragic, was justified. His actions caused the three deputies to reasonably believe it was necessary to use deadly force to protect themselves and others." Brown, age 42, was shot April 21st after Pasquotank County deputies attempted to serve him an arrest warrant. The deputies shot him 5 times, including once in the back of the head, according to an independent autopsy commissioned by his family. Though the official autopsy report has not been finalized, Womble said it shows Brown suffered 2 gunshot wounds, one non-lethal to the shoulder or arm and another to the back of the head, which is what killed him. And I'm going to go a little bit farther down here. Attorneys for Brown's family disputed the DA's narrative of the shooting in a statement Tuesday, saying the vehicle was moving away from the officers, and they demanded the release of the full video to help shed some light, much-needed daylight, on this case and bring small measure of justice to this family and to this community. The lawyers raised questions about the contention that Brown was driving towards the deputies when he in fact was shot in the back. And that's the key right there, you guys. I mean, the dash cam or the footage from the body cams, it's not all being released is one of the big problems here. And how is it that that stuff isn't immediately released when this stuff happens? It should never be held on to, especially not for this long. And you certainly can't just release pieces of it. We put those cameras on police officers so that we know what they did. It needs to be released immediately. How is this not how it works? Second issue, and they make the point perfectly here. If it turns out, and the video probably will prove this, if we can see all of it, if it turns out that he wasn't driving towards any of the police officers, then their lives weren't in jeopardy and they pumped him full of lead when he was trying to escape, not because he was driving towards the officers. And the evidence that proves this seems to be that he was shot in the back of the head. Well, I don't understand how that can happen. He obviously had to be fleeing unless you assume that he was in the car facing backwards and pressing on the gas and going towards a police officer with his back in the front seat, and then he got shot in the back of the head. What is this, magic bullet theory? No, it's obvious. You shot him in the back of the head. Now, if he really was driving at you and those first couple went through the windshield because he was, and you happen to hit somebody in the arm or hit somebody in the front of the head because they're actually driving at you, I'm never going to tell you that's a bad thing. If they had pumped that dude in Charlottesville that crashed into all those protesters full of lead as he was driving into them, you wouldn't see me shed a fucking tear. But this seems to indicate that at least the kill shot was shot into his back, which means that whoever killed him was behind the car, which means the car wasn't driving towards them. This isn't rocket science, you guys, and this is fucked up for a whole bunch of reasons. I mean, obviously, it's sad that they're not going to be able to prosecute these police. Now, we also need to, of course, as I've argued for multiple times on this show, end qualified immunity, which would allow, their police force to be sued in civil court. We need to end qualified immunity for police officers nationwide. Body cam footage needs to come out immediately after stuff like this happens. How is that not the norm? It blows my mind that they held on to this for so long and it still hasn't all been released, as far as this is telling me here, and this came out 2 hours ago. So this is messed up, you guys. You know, apparently you can be shot in the back if you're driving in a car, and the police will just say that you are trying to drive over them, and they'll get away with it. So all of that all of the dash cam footage and all of the body cam footage needs to be released. I haven't seen it, but this seems to me that it seems pretty obvious that this guy was shot in the back, which completely refutes the narrative that the police are giving you. Just another day in America, huh? And of course, the thing they were trying to do was just serve him a warrant. Like, non-violent. I think it was a drug dealing. Serving him a warrant. That's all it was. He's dead now. So I feel for his family. And, of course, I hate seeing this stuff, but I want to keep you guys up to date on this stuff. It's kind of lost in the white noise of Israel-Palestine right now, so I'm trying to give you other news, although this news is not in any way brighter than the Israel-Palestine thing, man. It's all fucked in this country right now, so keep fighting the good fight out there. I'll talk to you guys later.